Double crust pie, I want a slice. I'll work on it. I'll get back to you. Hi, I'm Erin Jeanne McDowell, recipe developer, cookbook author, and New York Times recipe contributor. As you may or may not know about me, one of my favorite things in the entire world is pie. And this time of year is sort of my ultimate pie time. I get to talk about pie and eat lots of pie and make lots of pie. So what we're going to do here is sort of a choose your own adventure situation with a master apple pie filling that can be used 10 different ways. Some of them are pie, some of them are not, but no matter what you choose, everyone's gonna be happy. So let's talk about this pie filling. It is going to have one major difference from many recipes that you see, which is that it involves being cooked on the stovetop. Pre-cooking pie fillings allows you to thicken some of the juices and concentrate some of the flavors before you even get the pie into the oven. And that means you're gonna have a better chance of that having a really beautiful, nice slice with no runny pie business going on. Any really good baking apple is gonna work here. So, you know, a John of Gold, a Galette, Honeycrisp, they're one of my favorites for baking with because they are a nice blend of tart and sweet. They get soft, but they don't break down into mush, which I like for an apple pie filling. I like to do diced apples for this filling. And for one reason, it makes it a lot more versatile. It makes us able to use it in 10 ways very easily. It also allows us to kind of control the juiciness aspect a little bit, but the size of the dice is sort of up to you. I just am doing a pretty standard rustic dice here. I like to be able to have some pieces that are a little softer and more broken down, and some pieces that are a little bit firmer and still have some bite. Once you have all your ingredients ready, it's really as simple as putting it all in the pot. I'm gonna add some of the ingredients to the pot and save a couple for later. Brimley really smells the pie. I think he wants in on this. The all-purpose flour is gonna provide a little bit of thickening here. So I actually like to add the sugar right into the flour so that when we add it to something hot, like this pot, it won't clump up. It smells so good. So since you have to cool your apple pie filling completely before you can use it, one of my favorite ways to do this is to just spread it onto something with more surface area, like a casserole dish or a baking sheet. More surface area will help it cool a lot faster. One of the things that's so great about this filling is how versatile it is. By cutting the apples into smaller pieces, it makes it more friendly for different sizes and portions of desserts, including one of my all-time favorite pie recipes, which is my fried apple pies. I've got my cooled apple pie filling ready to go, and I have my mealy pie dough. When it comes to something that you're frying, it's actually very helpful to have the fat dispersed more evenly throughout so you don't end up with any kind of errors or problems come fry time. The shape of the dough is not that important. It's more the thickness of the dough that is important. And we're gonna fill them. Basically, you just want them to be plenty full, but not so full that they're gonna ooze out as you start to assemble them. Now I'm gonna just dip my finger into a little bit of water and run it around 1/2 of the little pie. We're just trying to give the dough on the other side something to stick to. And it's important to have a good seal on fried pies because otherwise they're likely to burst open. If you don't have a thermometer, you can actually just do the way that I learned to test fryer oil, which is to use a little scrap piece of dough. At first, it should sink to the bottom of the pot, then shortly after, it should rise to the surface and start slowly browning. Okay, I'm gonna drop a few of my chilled pies in at a time, and we're gonna fry them until they're evenly golden brown, and we wanna make sure that we give them enough time because we don't want any raw dough. So this is gonna take several minutes. You can usually fry 3 or 4 at a time in a large pot like this. You just don't want them to be so close that they're touching too much of the fry time. And coat them generously. These are the stuff of fast food and carnival dreams times 1,000. They are so delicious. Everyone loves them, and you can eat them fresh when they're warm and just freshly made, and that is the best thing in the world.
These are perfect. I can't talk to you anymore. Bye.
Cobbler is such an amazing fruit dessert. There are lots of different styles of toppings, but I really like a biscuity topping for a cobbler. And this is sort of a cinnamon biscuit, and you just dollop it all over the filling. That's what I like about cobbler. It's really customizable, really homey, really comforting. So this is a great dessert kind of for any level of effort, even like weeknight level of effort. So for these mini pies, instead of using a regular pie dough, I'm using kind of something with a shorter, more crumbly, cookie-like texture rather than something light and flaky and airy. And the main advantage of that is you can just press it into whatever your vessel is. You could easily put a couple of these in a box and leave them on a neighbor's porch or something as a little treat. So that way you can make a whole pan, but you don't necessarily have to eat the whole pan. All those flavors of apple pie, but you know, in a bar. I'm like not getting tired of watching this filling go into pans yet. So I'm just like, look how caramelly it is. And bars like this are another great way to keep it easy. You know, this is something that kids could really help with, both in the preparation of the recipe and with the assembly. I always recommend galettes for people who really like to eat pie but don't necessarily like to make it. A galette is a more rustic sort of pie from the perspective of it's not made in a pie pan. It doesn't require any kind of extra bake time or anything. But that's one of the things that's nice about a galette is you can kind of choose if you want more filling or a little less. All right, now I'm gonna fold the edges over, kind of letting them naturally pleat all the way around. Just let the crust fall where it may. Another really fun and easy thing that you can do with this apple filling is just leave out the flour and turn it into apple butter instead. And you're gonna puree it. It's going to get even thicker when you return it to the pot for kind of one last stage of cooking, and it's going to have this really incredible deep caramel flavor from all of those other things that were going on in our apple filling. I'm calling this little iteration an upside down pie because it isn't exactly a tarte tatin, the most traditional upside down pie. That butter is gonna react with the other ingredients in our filling and kind of make this amazing caramelized topping. So I just like to use the rolling pin to sort of guide the dough into the pan like this. This is gonna become the bottom of this pie. So we don't really care what this looks like. Then we'll bake this until the pastry gets really golden brown. We've got a steamy, hot, upside down apple pie. So if you definitely have some non-apple pie lovers in your family, you might wanna opt for a layer cake instead. And in the middle, I'm just gonna spoon a nice big scoop. Heart eye emoji. I can't wait to eat it. One of my other favorite things to do with this filling is to sort of take an a la mode slice of pie, but turn it on its head. I'm gonna start by spooning a little bit of the filling into the base of my sundae dish. As many as you want, no judgment here. We're gonna spoon some more filling all over the surface. Then we're gonna use some of our pie crust streusel that we made, our little bits of pie dough, and we are just gonna put those all over the sundae. All the flavors of apple pie without actually having to make any pie. Double crusted beauty. I first go all the way around the edges, pinching the top crust and the bottom crust together. We take that excess crust at the edges and we tuck it under itself like this. And it's not only going to stay put, but it's also going to give us a little bit more dough at the edge for crimping. Only egg wash the center of the pie because the edge is brown enough on their own already. So now we'll give this a chill until it's time to bake. The oven! And the piece de resistance, the double crust apple pie made with our master apple pie filling. Thank you so much for joining me today as we made all these amazing apple desserts. It was sort of a choose your own adventure apple pie situation. You can make a classic apple pie, you can make fried apple pies, you can make little ones or free-form ones, or you can skip the pie altogether and go for cakes and sundaes. It's really up to you. There are so many possibilities here, and I'm so excited for you to make some of these in your kitchen this holiday season. Thanks so much.